We're going to discuss about employment authorization automatic renewal for H's, E's, and L's. As of today, it's a hot topic because this process starts today, May 4th. So it's fresh off the press. So just to give you a background before we start. As we all know, previously when H4 extensions and EADs used to be filed, they were filed with H1s, and H1 we could premium process it, but H4s we cannot premium process. So as a courtesy, USCIS would approve the H4s along with the H1s and even the H4 EADs, H4. So everything would come approved as a package because they were sent together in the package. So as a courtesy, they would approve everything together, and so the processing was very quick. And so H4 EAD people, it was like a boon because they could work for any employer. They're not limited by the H1 regulations. So it was a blessing in disguise. But what happened after that is that USCIS started asking for H4 extensions also, all I-539 extensions, including B2 and H4, F1, everything that uses an I-539 form, to get biometrics done. So when that biometrics process started, the H4 processing time started getting worse and worse. So right now the H4 and H4 EAD processing time is 12 to 18 months. So with reference to the H4 EAD especially, this can hit the person hard because no employer will be willing to wait for 1 year for a person to work. So the person might already have a job and they might lose their job because the employer cannot wait for a year, sometimes a year and a half, for the person to come back and start working. So in this situation, a lot of beneficiaries filed motions with courts, and there are a lot of litigation is being filed by various organizations in order to expedite the H4 and H4 EAD processing. So when Biden's administration came in, there was a recommendation by the administration, by the White House, to have premium processing for H4s. So to increase the scope of premium processing to include H4s as well. That would be great if that happens, but it hasn't happened so far, and it's been 2 years, I think, since, or at least last year, beginning of last year, when the recommendation came out from the White House. USCIS has still not implemented it. And they are saying that there was an update recently and they said they could only implement it next year or the year after. I don't remember when, but not in the near future. As a result of litigation that has been filed for delays in H4 and H4 EAD processing, USCIS has come up with a kind of limited remedy for these processing delays, which are completely their doing. And the remedy is that, and this law came out last year, but the update now is that the extension period is increased from 180 days to 540 days. But just to give you information on what the law actually is, for those of you who don't remember or can't remember all the aspects of the law, for those who are on H4, E or L dependent status, their H4 EAD will automatically get extended for the duration of the I-94 or for 540 days. As per the old law, it was 180 days, or as per the new law, it's 540 days. So again, to tell you what's happening here, if you filed a H4 EAD extension and your I-94, H4 I-94 is still valid, then you will get an automatic EAD extension until the validity of the I-94 or 540 days, whichever is less. So if your I-94 is expiring in 3 years, you will get your EAD renewal for only 540 days, not the 3 years, because it's the lesser of the two. And this is starting from May 4th, the 540-day rule. Previously, it was 180 days, and then they increased it because USCIS has rightfully realized that their processing time is not 6 months or not 180 days, but they're taking actually 12 to 18 months to process cases. So the 180 days increase was really ineffective and not useful. So they have increased that rightfully so. So now that we have established what the automatic extension is and in what situation the automatic extension of H4 EAD is given, we need to discuss what documents are needed in that situation. What documents are needed to show that you're employment authorized, because USCIS does not give a temporary EAD approval. And you need some kind of document to show your employer or for your employer to enter it into the I-9 for the I-9 purposes. USCIS has said that you need a combination of documents. So the first document is the I-94 797 or I-94 unexpired I-94 to show that your H4 has not yet expired. The next document is the I-797 receipt copy to show that you filed an EAD extension. Now this receipt copy will usually give you information about that extension. So it will say that your EAD is extended for 540 days. Or if you have filed before today, then it might just say that your EAD is extended for 180 days. Either way, that receipt can be used for extension to 540 days. Now the start date, the 540 days, day 1 starts on the expiry of your EAD. So that's how you calculate 540 days. In addition, the other document that's needed is the expired EAD card. So you need the expired EAD card, you need the receipt of the EAD application, and you need the unexpired I-94. So all these are 3 documents if you have, then you'll be able to automatically extend your EAD, and you can show those documents to your employer. Now the good thing in this law is that USCIS has finally agreed that dependents of E and L visas don't actually need an EAD. So they don't even have to file for a 765. And this has always been the law, but USCIS has refused to acknowledge it, and they forced dependents of Ls and Es to file 765 applications. So that's not needed. Now they have agreed that they are automatically employment authorized, so they don't need to file any kind of EAD, so they don't have to worry about the expiry of the EAD. So as long as they are in valid L2 status, and that happens if their spouse is in valid L1 status, then they qualify for work authorization. That is great news. Also, just to give you some more information about the 540 days increase in time, this is a temporary extension. So the 540 days is applicable only until October 26th, 2023. So I don't know why they came up with the date October 26th, but they want to give 540 days only until next year October, because they're presuming that by next year they are hoping that they will come back to speed on their H4 EAD processing times. So they're hoping that it'll be less than 6 months. So what's going to happen is that it'll revert back to the 180 days from the 540 days in October of next year. So that's one thing. The 540 days extension from 180 to 540 is only until October 2023. Who is eligible for the 540 days? Anyone who filed a EAD extension before May 4th, anybody who is filing an EAD extension now, and the extension has not yet expired. Again, previously filed EAD extensions also should be EAD extensions that were timely filed. So whether you filed earlier or you filed now, you automatically get the 540 days. But of course, that 540 days is not going to count as 540 days from today, but it will count as 540 days from the date of expiry of the EAD. So that is, Tony, in short, what the H4 EAD extension is all about, the automatic